Alright, what is going on, ladies and gentlemen? How is it going? I am Is There No One Else, and the video I'm bringing you today is going to be something kind of unique. I haven't made one of these before. It is a Magicka Sorcerer Healer for the Harrowstorm patch. Now, the reason I wanted to make this is because sometimes I like doing off-meta stuff that's not yet popularized, and there's a few sets that loan itself well to making a Magsorc Healer pretty viable. In general, they're not bad. They have a lot of utility, and they're pretty good for small group play. You know, when you're playing in a 2, 3, 4, 5-man group, the less people you have, the more you want your healer to be like a jack-of-all-trades type of player that has a lot of capabilities. And obviously, Magplar and Warden have those in spades. Magsorc, in my opinion, has it as well. So there's a lot of things that make Magsorc healers very powerful. I'm going to go through that at the end, but I want to dive into the gear, the skills, alternatives for you guys so that you guys have options. If you potentially want to play a Magicka Sorcerer or Healer, this will be kind of a guideline for you guys for if you want to do that in open world PvP. So, with that being said, guys, let's dive into it. As far as consumables go, guys, we want to be running the gold food. I do not have any on this character. I just ran out. The gold food will give you the most max stats with a little bit of health recovery. So when we look at my character sheet, my stats will actually be higher with the food that I'm using than what I'm currently running. So, yeah, I'm either running immovable pots or tri-pots as well for potions. Up to you. It kind of depends on the fight. You know, if you're an organized group going in for fights, you want immovables. If you're just hanging on for dear life, you might want tri-pots. So it's up to you. As far as gear go, guys, the first set we're running is we're running 5-piece Curse Eater on the back bar. So we're running 3 jewelry and then the sword and board of Curse Eater. Now, this set got reworked for Harrowstorm. 2-piece Max Magicka, 3-piece recovery, 4-piece recovery, 5-piece. When you heal yourself or an ally with a direct heal ability, remove up to 3 negative effects from them. If a negative effect was removed this way, your target restores 678 Magicka. This effect can occur once every 8 seconds per target. So, this used to be just once every 8 seconds. And so if I was playing in a 3-man group and I popped a Cauterize and my Cauterize went to my buddy, he got the Curse Eater, I'd have to wait 8 seconds for one of the 3 of us to get the Curse Eater proc. Now, if I hit a direct heal, all 3 of us could have Curse Eater procs every 8 seconds with one person wearing the set. So it's a huge buff for group play, so which makes it very valuable for healers, in my opinion. Direct heals. Our Power Surge is a direct heal, and so it will proc Curse Eater, which is very valuable. Our Twilight Matriarch will also proc Curse Eater. Our Dark deal, our Dark Conversion on our back bar will also proc Curse Eater. So there are multiple different ways for us to proc it on ourselves and our allies. Very effective. You know, obviously Magplar makes for a very powerful healer because it has access to the Purify synergy, which is powerful. Magdans are very powerful healers just because they have so many heals that they just overwhelm you with heal over times. And, you know, Sorc now can become a powerful healer as well with Curse Eater because our Purge is free. You know, free Purge, which is fantastic. So, very, very good set. The 678 Magicka isn't anything to be slept on. You know, I think it's roughly 150 Magicka recovery when you proc Curse Eater, you know, roughly. So it's pretty good. Got Impen, and then Defending Dagger. And then for our flex spot on our front bar, we're running a Maelstrom Resto Staff. When we hit our rapid regen and it crits, we get 800 Magicka. This turns out to roughly 400 Magicka recovery, you know, if it's proccing. You know, it's just another way to sustain a little bit easier. I find the Maelstrom Resto and a healer to be pretty powerful. As far as our monster sets go, there are multiple different ways you can run this. Now, I'm running Negate on the Sorc because Negate is just one of the most powerful ultimates in the game. Negating opposing healing is very, very good. Having the ulti gen to get it back faster is valuable to me. If you want to run other ways, you could run Bogdan, you could run Troll King, you could run Earthgore, you could run Thurvikin. They're all very, very good options for healers. It kind of just depends on what you want and what you value a little bit more. I'm not saying any of them are bad, but those are the options. Bloodspawn's super easy to get. It's valuable, gives you resistances, gives you stamina sustain, which on a Sorc turns into Magicka sustain, so it's really not a bad set at all, in my opinion. Well, it's never a bad set. And then finally, our last 5-piece, we are running Critical Riposte and Heavy. Critical Riposte is a new set to the Harrowstorm DLC. I did a whole video on it. If you guys want to check that out, I'll provide a link in the description. just so you can see more in depth. But 2-piece is critical resistance, 3-piece health, 4-piece critical resistance, 5-piece. When you take critical damage, you apply minor uncertainty and minor enervation to the enemy for 9 seconds, reducing their physical and spell critical by 13-14. So whatever their crit chance is, you're reducing their crit chance. So if they have like 60% crit chance, it drops it down to like 54%. So they're just critting less often. It also reduces their critical damage by 10%, which is quite a bit. An enemy can only be affected by your critical riposte once every 10 seconds. So, literally, like when I was testing it, off a cooldown, I was proccing this set. So, we tested it with Lobo. Lobo, we had 2 people attack Lobo. Multiple people can proc this set. And so, I talked about it in the video, and I'm just going to provide a brief review. This set is not providing as much critical resistance as, like, Transmutation. It's also not as much damage mitigation as Impregnable, which is probably the set closest to this set. But the difference is this set is a debuff on the enemy. And so we're not running Transmutation on this build, because if we ran Transmutation, we'd be wearing 2 light armor sets, which would make us a little bit too squishy for this type of healer. A small scale healer, you typically want to run like 1 damage mitigation set, like a tanky set, and then like a healer set. So a lot of healers will run, you know, a tanky set with like Transmutation or whatever on the back bar. Sorry. So you could run it like Impreg in that situation. The reason I'm doing this is if somebody hits me and it procs on them, everybody in my group or in the area that's on in my alliance gets the benefit of this set. Because it's a debuff on the enemy, we are buffing our allies by giving them basically critical riposte or Impreg Junior. You know, this doesn't give as much damage mitigation as Impreg, but it's not bad. You know, it's actually pretty good, and you essentially give everybody in the area Impreg Junior, which is pretty freaking fantastic. Plus, you can craft it in heavy, you can craft it in medium, you can craft it in light. It doesn't have to be on a healer. It can literally be on anybody. If you're in a 2 or 3 man group, one person runs a set, everybody gets the benefits from it. It's fantastic. But typically, small scale healers run 1 selfish tanky survive set and 1 group support set. This setup runs 2 group support sets, which already makes it pretty powerful. We get a free purge, and we also give everybody, like I said, Impreg Junior. So we're running 5 heavy, 1 medium, 1 light, all prismatic on the body pieces. Like I said, curse-eating jewelry with Magicka Recovery enchants and arcane with the arcane trait. So that's the gear. If we look at our character sheet and we buff up here, we're sitting at, like I said, our stats are going to be higher with our gold food, but we're sitting at 34,000 Magicka, 33,000 health. We do have Emperor, so it's roughly around 30 to 31,000 health, 18,500 stamina, 1884 Magicka Recovery. If we pop a pot, and we will, it's 2178 Magicka Recovery. Keep in mind, we also have that 150 that you don't see from Curse Eater. We also have some sustain built in with our Maelstrom Resto when we hit Rapid Regen. We also have Dark Conversion. Now, I am a High Elf, and High Elf is not the best race for this. Argonian or Breton would be much, much better for their costs. My Sork is a High Elf. I don't plan on changing it when I'm 1vxing, so I'm going to keep it as is. It's not too bad because High Elf gives you the stamina sustain when you activate a class ability, which then, as we know, as a Sork turns into Magicka. So we have 935 stamina recovery. If I remember correctly, High Elf passives are roughly like 600 or 700 stamina recovery. So when we're activating class skills, it's going to be like we have 1500 stamina recovery. So when we run low on magic, you will see it in the video. We're able to just dark deal and get a lot of our resources back. We have ridiculous sustain with this build. Fully buffed on our back bar with resistances. 24, about 25k spell, 24k physical. With Bloodspawn, it's 30, about 30 of each, but we are coming in at 4,100 critical resist. It's going to be really hard for people to burst us with this high of crit resist. So very, very valuable for that reason. Atronach Mundustone, you could be a vampire. I am currently not. It's up to you. As far as skills go, we are running Twilight Matriarch. Twilight Matriarch is the best burst heal in the game. This is part of the reason why I wanted to try out a Magicka Sorcerer healer. Look at that tooltip. Once summoned, you can activate the Twilight's Matriarch special ability for a lot of Magicka, causing it to heal the Matriarch and up to 2 other friendly targets for almost 15,000 health. So this is almost a 15,000 tooltip heal. It heals 2 other friendly targets. So Breath of Life hits 1 person for a high amount and the other person is half. This is 2. And so there are some negatives, some downsides of Twilight Matriarch. It's easy to kill. Once it dies, you have to resummon it, so you are put into cast time. If you get interrupted, you get bashed out of it, you can die that way. So it's not exactly perfect. It doesn't mean this is stupid OP, but in a group play situation, if your group is smart and they have a lot of stuff going on, it's going to be really hard for people to focus your Twilight. It's going to be really hard for them to focus it. If they do, we have so much recovery that we can streak through everybody, CC, get the summon off, get a couple dark deals, get some heals, line of sight a little bit. This is a very mobile healer, although we are also very tanky. So, yeah, Twilight Matriarch. Restraining Prison, this is going to be our root. This roots people in place. This is going to be our crowd control capability. On top of that, this morph gives us Major Vitality. So if we root 1 person, we get Major Vitality for 2 seconds. If we root 2, Major Vitality for 3, up to 8 seconds, or 7 seconds, sorry. So we have 7 seconds potentially of Major Vitality. This boosts our healing once again. So if you heavy attack with a Resto Staff, you get Major Mending. If you root people with this, you get Major Vitality. So you could potentially have some crazy, crazy heals. This only applies to you. It's your healing received, but if you root people, it keeps you alive. It makes you a little bit more tanky. So not only are we tanky, not only do we have high crit resistance, good resistances, very strong healing, but if a bunch of people pile on us, we can hit them with an Immobilize, and we can pop even crazier healing and stop them from jumping on us. We can streak through them, get some distance, and continue to be just a huge pain in the ass. Energy Orb, this is a heal over time. This morph is a heal over time. If people activate it, it's also kind of like shards. It gives them resources back. Very, very nice for a group. Sork doesn't have a ton of healing skills, so it's nice to be able to dip into, I think it's the Undaunted skill line to get this. Yeah, Undaunted skill line and use this. Streak, once again, like I said, we're going to encase and we're going to streak people. Crowd control, AoE CC. Sometimes you guys know, playing this game, sometimes your group only needs like 1 or 2 seconds of a reprieve. Streak provides that. Just that quick, like, hey, they need to get people off of them now to survive. We can do that with this healer. Dark Conversion. This allows us to basically infinitely sustain, even in no CP. I have some no CP clips for you guys, so you guys can kind of get an idea of what it would do in CP. CP is just a little laggy right now. I had some very good fights. I had some very good clips. However, you can't always tell what was going on because it was kind of choppy, and so I couldn't really tell. Like, sometimes my heals were going off, but it wasn't showing the heals, and just the footage didn't look super well or super, good. So I didn't use that. I used Battleground stuff. Dark Conversion, Absorption Field. This is going to be our negate. We're going to drop it in an area. Like I said, we're going to encase people. We're going to negate them. We're going to streak through them. And when you're encased and negated, you're going to try and dodge roll to break the root to get out so you can heal. As soon as they dodge roll, they drain stamina, right? And then you CC them. And then they have to CC break, and they might have to dodge roll again. So even if you don't get the killing blow with this type of move, it drains so much of their resources that the next time through you probably can kill them. So keep those sorts of things in mind. Typically, like, if you get into a very nice choke, you're going to kill a bunch of people anyways. So, but it has a lot of benefits. I did the Absorption Field, the one that heals. We're not running a damage build. We're not going to do a ton of damage. It allows our group, when they roll through that area, just a little bit more healing, just to kind of keep them alive a little bit longer. Back bar, we're on a Resto Ult, Life Giver. Just a quick heal. It's 106 ultimate on a Sork. Another valuable thing about being a Sork is you get reduced ultimate cost, and so you can pop Life Givers like crazy. So if you need to. Oftentimes I would use Life Giver. Like, let's say our groups have getting heavily focused, right? And I'm pounding Twilight heals, I'm popping hots. I can't really Dark Deal because I'm getting hit a whole lot. And if I try to Dark Deal, I'm going to get bashed out of it. I'll pop a Resto Ult, so it gives me that free chance to just know that I get healing. and then I'll streak through everybody, and then I'll dark deal 2 or 3 times, get some resources back. By the time Life Giver goes down, I'm sitting at about half resources, maybe a little bit higher. I can go back to healing, go back to supporting the group, and then basically like I can just kind of rotate through that. Hopefully at that point, my teammates will have killed a few people so we don't have as much pressure on us, but if not, we can just kind of keep that rolling. So very, very effective for that reason. Healing Springs, Boundless Storm, this gives us our major resolve and major ward. It also gives us major expedition. So we're very, very fast with this build. Our major buff also gives us major expedition, which is nice. Power Surge, this is the sword heal. It gives us major sorcery, increases our spell damage, but we also, when we critically heal somebody, it heals you and your allies around you for 34-42 health. It's an 18-meter radius, so anybody within 18 meters of you will get the Power Surge heal. Now, the other thing with Power Surge, guys, is when you proc Power Surge, if you're on your back bar, let's say you rotate your HOTS, right? On your front bar and you go to your back bar, your HOTS will not proc Curse Eater, but Power Surge will. So Power Surge can proc it. Our Twilight Heal can also proc it. And so when we go to our back bar, when we're on our Curse Eater bar, it will proc Curse Eater essentially off of cooldown with those 2 potential things. Very, very effective. Sorry, I got to go to the front bar. Twilight Matriarch, this has to be double barred, so I put it right here. And then Radiating Regeneration. So this is our heal over time. I went with one that heals up to 3 people. A few less casts, saves us a little bit more resources. It's still a pretty good heal over time. If you're only running with like 1 or 2 people, you might want to change this to Rapid Regen. You know, it's up to you. But those are the things I would look at. As far as our CP goes, 1 into Siphoner, 67 Warlord, 27 Tenacity, 76 into Arcanist, 9 into Mooncalf, 56 Shadow Ward, 34 into Tumbling, occasionally, 100 Elfborn, 100 Bless, 64 Ellie Expert. We don't need any here. 72 Ironclad, 56 Resistant, 75 Hardy, 56 Ally Defender, 11 in Thickskin. You do want to get the Unchained passive. When you break free, that's a good chance to hit a Dark Deal. Dark Deal will essentially be like next to nothing when that happens. Your next stamina ability used within 5 seconds is reduced by 80%. We only have 1 stamina ability, and it's Dark Conversion. So if you get CC'd and you're on that back bar, try and get a Dark Deal off. It's very, very effective. No points in a quick recovery or Bastion. We're not running shields. That is it. So that's the build, guys. Now, as I said before, I don't think this provides the same healing power as like a Warden or a Templar. I'm not saying that it does. But for those of you guys that do play Warden and Templar healers, you know that when you get jumped on, you're just, you have to misform, you have to line of sight. It's very tough to get people off of you. That's not the case on a Magicka Sorc. If I can still be just as tanky as I am on a Templar healer, I can block a lot. And if too many people jump on me and I have to get out, I can streak through them. I can get a Dark Deal off. Or, if I really have to get away, I can hit my major expedition. I can streak a few times. I can Dark Deal. I can line of sight. I can get some resources back here. It's just a different way to survive. So, this build has multiple different ways to survive. Some builds are very tanky, like a Magicka Necromancer healer is very, very tanky, and they have very good healing. We're also tanky with this build. We're also tanky. We also have great burst heals. Like I said, Twilight Matriarch heal is incredible. I've hit a 15k heal with my Twilight Matriarch. It hits up to 2 people. It's very, very powerful. Plus with Power Surge, plus with our heal over times, we do have very good healing. We don't take a ton of damage because of critical riposte. We have pretty good resistances. And if all of that goes to shit and it's just too many people, we can utilize Streak and Encase to slow people down, to get the distance, to stay alive a little bit longer. Sometimes we can just get out. Like if we choose that we want to get out, we can in some situations. Other times, maybe we just need to get around a corner, get some resources back, and get back into the fight. So it's a different way to play. It provides just different utility. Magicka Templar, they obviously have good healing. You have access to like a Nova synergy. You also have access to major protection with, practice incantation. Wardens just have heal over times out the ass, and they just heal over time and it's just really hard to kill anybody once a Warden is rotating their HOTS pretty well. This has good healing, but it also has support via crowd control and access to one of the best ultimates for wiping groups in the game, which is Negate. I honestly think Negate is better for wiping groups than than Nova is more often than not. You know, like if a group comes up and they pop a healing ult, you know, and you drop a Nova, sometimes they can get up and pop a healing ult and keep everybody alive. That major protection plus that heal does that. A negate, they got to get out of it, you know, or else they're not activating anything. They're not activating ultimates. They're not activating heals. It's just, it's fun. You know, we're highly mobile. Like I said, good healing, and we have access to negate. So that's the build, guys. Like I said, if you want alternatives, like I said, you can run a defensive set on the body. You don't have to run critical riposte. You can run heavy impreg. Heavy impreg would be fantastic. Pariah is always another good option. You know, you could craft fortified brass. That's not a bad option either. There's lots of heavy armor sets that you could do. Like if you go out and get a set of Ironblood and you really just want to be like major protection but slow, like you can run Ironblood. There are multiple defensive sets. You just figure out which one you want to run. Back bar sets, you can run Trans, but you know, Sorc doesn't have access to Purge, and Purge is expensive, the support skill line, so might as well just take full advantage of the free Purge that Curse Eater provides, in my opinion. But yeah, that's my build. I really enjoy it. It's a lot of fun. So if you guys have any questions or comments, please provide in the section below. Let's get to the clips. Alright guys, so I got a few Battlegrounds matches for you, just deathmatch using this build. I'm posting Battlegrounds matches for a few reasons. Number one, it's no CP, so you get to see the sustain in no CP and, you know, see just how ridiculous it actually is in open world. Two, open world gets really chaotic with a lot of people like running around all over the place. It's a lot easier to see what's going on in no CP Battlegrounds because there's just less people. Number three, Battlegrounds works right now. Open world kind of doesn't. I got in some good fights where I was pretty tanky, but it was so laggy, sometimes I couldn't tell if I was staying alive because I was tanky and I was rotating my heals, or if the other group didn't have any damage, or stuff like that. So it was just very choppy. And I figured it'd be easier to show it this way, to just show you everything that you have. So this takes off about halfway through the match. We'd already had a pretty good few wipes. We have a Magicka Necromancer in the group, and we caught a really nice encase with a negate and a vulnerability ult. My food ran out, so I had to switch my food and I had to switch my pots, so things are getting a little iffy here. They pop their bats, so I encase them here, keep my buffs up. At this point I should dark deal, but I see one of my buddies getting focused. So I go in with a few hots just to try and get a couple of quick heals. Now I drop down here to dark deal, come back up for some heals. I encase this person. And we're just gonna try and, you know, control the middle here, try and keep everybody alive. This person's getting focused, so I'm gonna try and just root them in place, CC them, drain the resources so our group can kind of take them out. I come back up here because there's only 2 people in our group right here, and I'm not sure what the rest of them are doing. I try to CC that one, and at this point, you see I'm just kind of spamming skills, and I'm still just able to dark deal relentlessly. Like I said, if you were an Argonian or a Breton on this build, it would just be pretty crazy. But like I said, High Elf's pretty solid for the stamina conversion. I have like 900 stamina recovery, and then with the High Elf passives, it's a heck of a lot more, as you guys know. So yeah, so at this point we got a few people focusing in here, so I'm just encasing them, streaking through them. I get the werewolf jumps on me, so I just streak away really quick, come back to pop some heals. I take a fear right here. Couple rapid regens, and really you just want to kind of keep your hots up, keep your heals down on the ground, make sure your crit surge buffs up, and then once you have all your hots kind of rolling, you can go on your other bar and you can start encasing and streaking. You see this person's got to half health, so I decided to encase him, streak him to CC. My teammates decided not to focus him. You know, at the end of the day, we're not really in a group, so we can't coordinate these things, and this is my one death of the match. I tried to CC that guy in the vulnerability ult, and my noob ass didn't realize that my streak is longer than the edge of that, and so I streaked off the side. But hey, you know, that's good content right there, right? So yeah, I had a lot of fun playing this, and I honestly felt pretty bad. Like, I don't like running a healer in BGs because it's just so lopsided. Like, if other groups don't have healers, it's just... sometimes it's just not very fair, you know, because healers bring so much. Like, the other group could have some really good players, and if your teammates aren't very good, then they're going to win anyways. But, like, with evenly matched opponents, a healer is the equalizer. You know, they're just going to make things a lot tougher to deal with. I popped some hots here. I wasn't sure if that was our vulnerability ult or not. I streak off to the side just to take a little less damage. Try to go for the streak for the CC. I take a Soul Assault here, so I'm just going to pop a heal, hit a couple Dark Deals. Soul Assault just doesn't do a bunch of damage anymore, so as long as I have a few hots rolling, I'm going to stay at full health. This guy, I go to Body Block, hit a couple Healing Springs, streak through here just to CC everybody, just to give them a little bit of a reprieve. And so now I'm going to Dark Deal, get some resources back. That person's at half health. Take a Blast Bones. Still going to keep Dark Dealing, keep my buffs up. Rotate a couple hots, put some Healing Springs on the ground for the guy right here. We got 1 minute left. And so at this point, we got a bunch of people in the area. So I'm going to encase them here. I'm going to negate. I'm going to streak through them. And you can see that this combination is going to work very well for group play. You know, if you can get a bunch of people in a choke and they all push up, you can encase them. And then when you negate, they're going to have to dodge roll out. And then when you CC, they're going to have to CC break. And it's a huge drain of resources to deal with. And so that's the other cool part about this build is just, you know, as Magsork, you just... You know, you have enough healing to keep everybody alive as needed, and on top of that, you just have other support. And so, and the support turns into survivability. That would have been a great time for a negate, which we don't have, but all 4 people piled up like that. But yeah, we're just rotating our hots, making sure they're not getting any kills here on our end. Rotate a few more hots, pop some heals here. Our buddy takes a vulnerability ult. We have 3 seconds left, and we end up winning this match. Yeah, overall not too bad. About 800,000 healing. 182,000 damage. Yeah, and then the final match, we are in a battleground with the one and only Bucko. I saw he was on this team, and I was like, all right, well, let's fucking do this. So, yeah, I told him I was healing him, and he goes, all right, cool. So he just went full offensive this entire time, and, you know, once again, we only have 5 minutes for clipping for Xbox, so the first couple of minutes were taken. We took a lead. Really nice encase negate early on with a couple Dawn Breakers. We got a few quick kills and a couple group wipes. One of our guys takes a bunch of damage there. They had a snipe spammer in this corner, and yeah, if you weren't careful, they were chunking out damage. I'm luckily on the tankier side, but you know, a couple of our people aren't. I go to streak through here. You see the streak and you hear it, and it doesn't go off. And so at that point I had to streak again, and I was lower on resources. So I decided to try and body block a little bit right there. I'm going to Dark Deal, get some resources back once again, keep my hots up. You see them go in, so I'm going to keep the Healing Springs down. I'm going to keep my hots. I'm going to streak through for another CC. Just that little bit of reprieve is sometimes all you need. See how he took a couple snipes there. My pet died, so I couldn't get the heal. So I was stuck in a channel, and I couldn't pop him back to full. So we just had to back up a little bit because it's just the 2 of us. The Sork comes in, and so I'm just going to keep my heals rotated. He goes for the onslaught. I encase. I get hit with a meteor here, and so I pop my heals. I streak through, and you can see it. That change for line of sight for a healer is just so powerful. I get another meteor dropped on me. I streak through once again. I change my direction to where they can't really focus me. Bucko hops off, so I decide to hop down and try and keep myself healed up. At this point, I'm taking a bunch of heat, and I'm just trying to pop heals, but it looks like I'm defiled, and they get me here. So I think that ended up being my only death of the match for this one. So once again, like I said, you want to keep your rapid regens up. You want to keep your power surge up because those are going to be very powerful hots. When your group piles in an area, you want to keep your Healing Springs down. You want to keep your orbs up in case they want to activate them. I didn't do a very good job of activating my orbs a whole lot in these fights. It was kind of, like I said, I was getting used to the rotation, but you know, there's another thing you can activate here. At this point, you could activate an orb. At this point, I'm just, you know, it's not too many people, so I'm just CCing him, draining his resources, just going for the kills. And so we're just sticking with our group in case they get bombed. At this point, he's CC'd. You see he's out of stam, and so he pops his Arctic Wind. He's going to go into his Permafrost here, so I'm going to drop a Healing Springs down. We're going to hit a couple Twilight Heals to make sure that they don't die. We get another guy that comes in, so we're just going to encase. We're going to negate. Kind of stops the Magicka players from being able to do anything. Instead of going offensive, now they have to back up. So it gives our teammates a reprieve. We get a kill there. That guy was on low resource already at that point, so then it turns the surprise 3-on-2 into the 3-on-1. And at this point, you know, the groups are just kind of trying to stay away from us a little bit. You know, when you see a dedicated healing, when you see a couple people kind of grouping up like this, it gets a little rough to deal with. Like, you just kind of get steamrolled in BGs, and you know, that's what a healer does. It ends up making it sometimes just not very fun, you know, if you're on the other team. So yeah, so now we're grouped up with all four teammates, and we're just going to rotate around, see if we can find a group here to take out. They go after one of the guys down the stairs. I'm going to keep my buffs up. You see I got the speed to keep up with even the faster opponents. We get a bunch of people in this area, so I streak to CC. You see I get the encase spam, or the encase right there on those two people so they can't come in. This guy drops a couple heals himself. Keep my buffs up. Another rapid regen. Poorly placed healing springs. This guy comes in with a permafrost. I turn around and I encase. I streak through him for the CC. Just to kind of slow him from jumping on top of everybody. Keep everybody healed to full. More rapid regens. A couple dark deals here. I got down to low resources, but we're just kind of balled up. We had the hots rolling. But yeah, at this point, you don't see the part where I had to use the resto ult, but we were getting piled on by both teams earlier on. And instead of using the negate for an offensive capability, I would pop the resto ult when we were really getting focused, because it gives you that reprieve, that healing reprieve that you need. And then you can just slam dark deals to get resources back. So I would hit a resto ult, and then that would mean I could go kind of full defensive, get some resources back. So I'd go back to heavily spamming heals. Once it happened again, I'd pop another resto ult. I go back to heavily spamming heals. So you have offensive capabilities with negate, and then you have some great support healing, obviously, with resto ult, which is very, very powerful. So we're gonna finish up this match right here. Go down to help him out. They take a meteor, so I'm going to pop a couple heals. We're going to try and encase this, keep a couple resto ults up, and not resto ults, but rapid regens. And we're just about finished. But yeah, 700k healing, nothing special. I think my highest in these matches was 900k, but you look at the deaths on our team, just not too many. So that's the value of running a healer. Like, they can just go full offensive, and you just... Healer is the most powerful thing in the game, and I think this is a pretty unique way to play it. I'm not saying it's the best, but Sorc healer is fun, and yeah, that's going to be the end of this video. Let me know what you guys think. Thank you for watching, guys. Have a nice day.